that.
I know that's right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Good morning, good morning. Happy New Year, all. What's popping? What it do? I hope you had a good ushering in of the 2025. I was talking to my wife this morning. We was reminiscing over the early 90s. Do y'all remember the early 90s? Huh? Nah, it's just me, right? I'm the old head. I get it. No pressure. But the early 90s, remember we used to have them funny names for all of the years? Like, we don't do that no more. Remember 1992 was not the 9 Deuce. 93 was the 9 Trey, the 1990 Trey. You know what I'm saying? 94 came around, the 90 Quad. You know what I mean? Now we can't even do that. What we gonna say? Deuce 0 and a quarter? I don't think it worked like that, but it is what it is. Appreciate y'all pulling up, man. We're gonna go ahead and get things cranked up in here in just a moment, but I just wanted to say Happy New Year to all. We'll try to keep today's short so that you can keep the champagne bubbles hot in the house for today. But I did want to at least go over a few things. So while we're waiting for our esteemed first guest for the day, I did want to at least pop out. We got a couple pointers. So let's go ahead and do it and refresh a couple things. Plus a couple things I forgot. Let's try it. All right, guys. So good morning again. Like we said, try to keep it short today if possible, but you know I am he of long winds, so bear with me if that doesn't happen. Just want to go over a few pointers before we bring in our special guest presenter today, a vet who taught me so much, even after I helped to usher her in through this process. He turned around and learned way more than me, and that's how it's supposed to go. And I ended up coming to her for God. So gotta look out for each other. But I did want to at least start off by saying, hopefully you've been absorbing everything. Today, my objective is to go into the New Jersey, not the New Jersey one specifically, but to state taxes and how to enter them based off the W-2. I then like to go through rapidly a few different types of 1099s that you may expect to receive. And then I would like to start the process of explaining and breaking down standard deductions and Schedule A deductions and things like that. The plan is to have this over with within 30 to 60 minutes. So hopefully you at least have that much faith in us. Patience for us. But that is ultimately the objective for today. Now, hopefully you've also been tuning in for the last few sessions and you are right along with us. And once again, I just want to reiterate that for today's session, you will want to have this all secured. Your login for being able to go to the GAP site, because this is where you're going to process and prepare all of your tax files. Okay, so if you don't have access to this, you're already behind. All right, we need you to have access to this, and you should not only be able to go to the website, but you should be able to log in to the website, and you should be able to, frankly, prepare taxes. Like, it's that time. There are folks who have already had their taxes prepared as of this year. So don't get it twisted. You are right now at a key moment in which you can get things popping, where you can let things sit at a standstill and stall for a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and get that cranking, guys. Make sure y'all have this. Again, the objective for today is to quickly breeze through. We've already gone from beginning to finish of a tax return electronically. I'd like to go over a couple key pointers for your in-person meetings or your virtual meetings, like things to say, the first 3 things that you're going to say when you sit down with a client virtually or in person, as well as how to do the state return. And we're going to introduce you, or at least go through some 1099, some of the ones that we have not done before. We'll make it quick, like I said, 60 minutes max today, 30 to 60. We might even get out early if I can. But before we get into all of that, I would like to bring on somebody who's been so astute in this, took the bull by the horns, literally. That's literally. And like came into this biz not to just make it, but to take it and like take it to a whole nother level. I don't even have all of the accolades that I can sit and discuss for this woman, but I do want you all to walk away just as enlightened as I do whenever I speak with this young lady. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in the one and only, the lovely, the established Esquire, the Sharice William. Hey, what's going on there, Miss Sharice?
Hi, how are you doing, everybody? Hi, Vinny. Happy New Year.
New Year to you too. I'm loving I love what you got going on, man. Listen, I'm not going to keep you. I know you got a million things, celebration, possibly some of them. So we'll just go ahead and let you ride off. Take your time, but be quick.
Will do.
All right.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Decoration's still up, but just happy to be here. I wanted to come on and just talk to everybody. You have heard such great things. You're learning wonderful, wonderful things and a way to change your life, right? And I wanted to let you know that one of the primary things that you want to do with this business is educate yourself. We talked about how to market. We talked about we're talking now about how to input information into the system, right? I'm coming to talk to you about understanding what you're putting into our system, into our software, and where it's going to land. Your information, knowledge, making sure that everything that you can learn about, hi, Honey Bunch, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Everything that you can learn it. Questions, ask them. Use your resources. Memberships to NATP, for enroll agents, NAEA. There are so many resources. Join and get access to information. Every one of the things that Vinny's talking with you about, you can go into NATP and look at it further, right? Look at it further, making sure that any question that you have, if your client comes to talk to you, you need to have some knowledge of what you are doing for them, right? We don't do taxes. We prepare tax returns, okay? We do tax return preparation. And so if that's what we're doing, we need to know what it is that we're preparing, right? We need to understand the ins and the outs of it. If I fill out a Schedule E, where does that land? Right? If I fill out a Schedule C, where does that land? All of the information that we're doing, whatever we're putting in the system, where is it going to show up? And then when we understand that we want to stand out, right? We want to market ourselves as more than just a refund. We want to market ourselves as educated preparers. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody. All of God's grace for all of us, right? But we want to make sure that when we are taking care of, when we are preparing a return, we understand what it is. So if they have a question, right, you're able to talk to it. You can spend your time and then you don't have questions or problems with your fees, because you know what it took for you to be able to do or prepare whatever return you're going to prepare. You know what it took, so you don't buck on your fee. My fee is my fee, right? And education allows that for you. In fact, with our team, we sponsor the NATP membership. We sponsor that because it is a resource that is amazing and absolutely necessary. If when the people are in the office with me, they can turn around and ask me whatever question. If I don't know it off the top of my head, believe me, I have 7 million books that will help me answer that question. I got a lot of stuff in here, but if I don't know it, I know where to look for it. And that's what we want to be. We want to be resources. We want our clients to call us after May, because we told them, hey, if you're going to make changes to your W-4, call me and I can help you with that. We want them to be reaching out to us because they consider us a knowledgeable resource. We're not just their tax lady. right? We are a person, not necessarily financial advisors, but we can definitely advise as it pertains to your taxes, the taxes. One of the things that we say at Tax Lady 2 Union County is that we foster a healthy fiscal relationship with federal, state, and local government taxes and our businesses and individuals. That's what we do. We foster that. So we're able to talk to what you need to do here, how you need to do this, when you need to do whatever. Right. I like I said, we have subscriptions to all kinds of resources, all kinds of organizations. We pay for different groups and just we make sure that we know our stuff. We know our stuff, and it's absolutely necessary, right? Another thing in our office, and people, you can feel free. But once you are a preparer in Tax Lady 2 Union County, you need to be able to, you prepare the return. We don't give the answer right away necessarily. You need to be able to explain to me or Ms. Ronnie what exactly happened on the return, so that when you talk to your client, because a lot of times they're like, well, how much did I get? We're going to get to that, Mr. or Mrs. whomever client, but we're going to talk about how we arrive there. And if your endeavor is to have a bigger refund next year, we're going to talk about how to do that as well, right? So knowing how to do that requires, taking the time to go through, see where the data that you're putting in, where it arrives on the return. Many people don't know or realize when I fill out a Schedule C, that's going to end up on a Schedule SE, and it's also going to end up on other income. You need to know that. So when you're looking at the return and you're going over it, you can tell them where that information came from, right? I can't see if there are any questions for me, but if there are, just let me know. Yes, please feel free to ask questions, whatever way I can help. I'm more than happy to. Our organization knows that we are a phone call away. It's during the season. Good morning, Happy New Year to you too. Hey, Miss, how are you, darling? Yes, and because we know what we know, like Sissy is saying, we don't get pushback on our fees because they know that we are not cheap. We're not cheap at all, but we are definitely a bargain, okay? Because of the value that you get along with what we do. We get calls all year round about a lot of different things. Our small business owners, moderate business owners, they call us all the time about ways, they can save money or whatever. And those individuals, they have subscriptions to us. They pay us a monthly fee so that we can provide that advice. That's another area, but just knowing how important it is to remain knowledgeable. Around me right now, I have probably about 7 different books on resolution because I provide representation for our clients about how to get penalties abated and what the Internal Revenue, the IRM or the Internal Revenue Code. I know it sometimes too much, but I know it enough to help get people out of trouble. In fact, I had a client who had $180,000 tax bill. And because of my knowledge of the code and what forms to use in terms of an offer in compromise, I got his bill down to $31,000. I think he's a lifetime client moving forward because I got him out of trouble and I can make sure he stays out of trouble. So those are the things that are absolutely necessary. Anybody, if you have questions, if you need something from me, don't hesitate to give a call. If I can't answer right away, which is, sometimes possible, send me an email and I'm more than happy to answer it on my downtime. And what you can learn to do when you're talking with your clients is if they have a question and you don't know the answer to it, you can let them know, hey, I have to check my resources. I will get back to you by close of business or within 24 hours. And then you can give them a call back after having chatted with me or whatever. Right? Yeah, absolutely. We hear from clients all the time. Well, not clients that have been with us. They already know what it is. But new people, as we acquire new clients, bless God, people say, I've never had an experience like this. I just drop off my papers and I go. That's not going to be your reality with Tax Lady to Union County. We want you to know, and we're not threatened by you knowing what we did or how we did what we did for you. Because there's no way you're going to be able to necessarily replicate it, right? So absolutely. That's me, Sharice Williams Jefferson. And yes, I am an enrolled agent. That was one of the most rewarding study and exam that I've taken. Like I said, my brain just holds all of that stuff in there. And so testing it, and just seeing all I'm exposed to has been amazing. I don't know if there are any questions. I hear my music that it's time for me to get off the stage. So I will take my leave, but thank you guys. Happy New Year again. Have an amazing season. You guys do great.
Hold up now. Don't try to trot off that quick. Now, hold on, man. You're just trying to go off and have your little eggnog that you got left in the fridge. I know how you get down.
I made coquito and I made sorrel this year. So
you made coquito?
Yes.
Hold up, bro. I'm gonna need you to go ahead and email that to my inbox immediately. I'm down here in Florida. I should have had some of that. That's my bad. But anyway, I just want to ask you one thing real quick before I let you go. When you first started yesterday, because a lot of folks, if I'm not mistaken, that are following now are folks who are maybe doing this for the first time. Here's a question before I get to mine. Here's one from Ms. B. What would you say? It's almost right around what I was going to ask anyway. But the basic question was going to be, what would you tell your first year self now that you're, I want to say almost 10 years in? I think it's somewhere like 8, 9, 10 years, something like that. 6. Oh, I mean, round it up.
I'll take it. Listen, we got about 20, 30 years of knowledge in here. So yes, absolutely.
So absolutely. Just what would you tell your, yourself on your first year now?
What I would say to myself, I would say you can do anything. Just don't be afraid to not know how to do it. And again, education, knowledge, talk to people. If anybody doesn't know what it is that you're doing, then you're doing something wrong. They need to know what you're doing, what your endeavor is, right? It's a service-oriented business, and just get in there. Try it. As long as you don't hit submit, hey, the mistakes are few and far in between. As long as you don't hit submit, as long as you don't send it off, try what you need to do. And then always phone a friend, call somebody, get mentorship, memberships, just making sure that you align yourself with people in a room that are smarter than you. That's what I would tell myself. That you can do it, you will do it. You will do it. You just have to do it. That's what I would tell myself.
Honestly, that is so key though, because if I think back to my first year, Sharice, fear was a big factor, right? Because I mean, all our lives we've been deathly afraid of the IRS, and rightfully so. Just be honest. You know what I'm saying? And it's weird to be like, okay, well now I want to work directly with them. And so you just get afraid of every step and you think, man, if I do this wrong, I could. But after you kind of get accustomed to what it is that we can't do, what you shouldn't do, and how to appropriately submit, especially with esteemed folks like yourself, kind of coaching in our ear, and I think everybody ends up being well. But appreciate you, Sharice. I ain't gonna hold you. You know what I'm saying? It's Coquicos. That's me. So appreciate you. Thank you so much once again, everybody. Sharice. Love you. Thank you. Appreciate it. We will see you on the flip side. You saying something?
I said, give me a call if you need me.
Okay, yeah, you almost messed up the outro. Just playing. All right, call Sharice, y'all. All right, we back with little old me, and let's go ahead and do this quick so that we can go ahead and enjoy our New Year's Day. So please follow along with me as we continue some of the stuff that we discussed yesterday and the day before. Before we get into that, though, once again, I want to reiterate, in order for us to follow along appropriately today, you want to have access to this screen. You got to have it, y'all. If you don't, you're already messing up. So please let me know that you have your logins. If you don't, you are behind already. And you have one more question. Oh. Oh, y'all have more questions? Well, shoot. Yeah, go get goals to eat. Let me see if I can help out with some of these questions real quick before we go. Because like I said, I'm trying to make this one a quick one today. Okay. B says, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel because this is a private channel. So if you subscribe and you hit the notifications, then you will get exclusive info, if I'm not mistaken. All right. And like she says, hit the notification bell so you don't miss when we go live. That's important because, sometimes we be switching these times up. All right. Any tips on new laws that would help us that were different from last year? As of right now, that's a good question. I say stay tuned because the administration still hasn't taken root. There's only a few things as far as I'm concerned with regard to the business, the BOI and all of that, because that stuff started last year, but it takes place this year. So we'll get into that. And I don't know if you're ready for all that, Tasha. I'm just playing. We'll get into that. But you're right up there with me. She should have taken it. And we may have one more question, darn it. Oh, my bad. Well, that was the answer. All right. So we'll get into all that. But yeah, good questions. And plus, like I said, we're still waiting for some more things to be rolled out. All right. Let's go ahead and get into where we were from before. Okay, so I want y'all to remember that. But before I do this, just a quick refresher. It just occurred to me that I hadn't gone over with you guys the 3 things that we say to folks as soon as they sit down. All right, there's typically 3 things that we say when we have folks sit down. So just imagine you've already had somebody come into your office, or you've had your staff, or you've already gotten all the information from your client: W-2, driver's license, social security cards, birth certificates, direct deposit information. They've signed off on the consent forms, everything, and now they're sitting in front of you saying, "Okay, what are we going to do?" Or you've already gotten the information, you've already entered it and everything like that, but now you need more information, so you got to have them on screen to ask them questions, or you got to have them in front of you and before your desk to ask questions. Well, before you do anything, you're nice, you're approachable, you're so benevolent, you're so Chick-fil-A Publix with the customer service. Hey, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for choosing us. It means so much that y'all chose us over all these hundreds of thousands of businesses that are out there promoting that they're going to give you $10,000 per child. Sincerely appreciate it. Now that we have you here, I would like to give you our rundown of what we're going to do. There's 3 things that we're going to do for you today. All right, there's 3 things that we're going to do for you today. Okay. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to enter all your information to our system. Okay, we're going to take what you gave us, put it in directly as you gave it to us. All right. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the number that the system's given me based off what you provided. Now, that's probably the same number you get at H&R Block, Tax, TurboTax, Jackson Hewitt, Liberty. I don't know, Grandma Basement, wherever it is you get it done. We'll let you know. What's the purpose of this second part? All right. The second part is to make sure that the client knows that we know what you get elsewhere, and we can get that number for you easily too. All right. Now, hopefully there's some more credits or possibly deductions that we may be able to apply to your account that can help us get a better result. But we at least know what the original outcome is from your TurboTax. All right. And this is where we come in. And finally, the last thing we'll do is we're going to go back into the system, see what credits, what deductions, what it is that we can add to your file that will allow us to legally maximize the refund. Now, our objective is not to do anything that is erroneous, false, but it is to dig deep to find where the legitimate loopholes may be to assist this client. They may not be there. I mean, just say that at the outset. Like, they're not always there. You know, sometimes I have to tell a client, like, look, bro, I want to get you more, but it ain't no more. Or look, I wanted you to pay less, but you know what I'm saying? It's the best I can do in my comfort zone. You know, that happens sometimes. All right. So just be aware that you will do the best you can, but you also want to make sure that they're aware of what the process is. So then you start you put the information in, you tell them what it is that they're getting back. Oh, you're getting back XYZ. And then they're like, all right. Then you're like, hold up. Now I got to go to the last part. Then you start asking questions. Did your kid go to school? Did you go to school? Did you have any additional income endeavors that you have not included with the information that you brought in today? Were there any expenses that went along with that extra income endeavor? Did you also have any additional incomes that you did not list, i.e. rental income? Did you have any withdrawals from any IRAs, any individual retirement accounts, anything of that sort? Was there anything else that you failed to mention? Did you have to pay alimony to anybody? Did you collect child support? Did you have government assistance? Did you have Social Security? Did you have health insurance? There's a whole bunch of information that you haven't put in yet after just putting in the initial information that could impact the refund. That's why you go down this list and tell them the 3 things you're going to do today. Now, with the client that we're doing right now, we've already entered all the information. My objective today is not to walk you through how to get from the beginning to the end of a tax return, because I did that already. All right. My objective today is to go through the different scenarios and the different forms that you may see as you are preparing these taxes, because you should already know how to open and close a tax return as of right now. Only thing we haven't really gone over really in depth is how to dictate your fees, which frankly is customary depending on who it is that you are, where you are, and what exactly you're doing. But I will go over my method. All right. I may not go through that today because we're trying to keep it short, but we will go over some of the information that could at least help you finalize that process. So without further ado, I'd like y'all to go ahead and follow along with me here. And if you recall, yesterday we were discussing our client. We're going to start right with the same client we had yesterday, who was Jessica Brady. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and enter the system, right? See, I already got my password, username, and all that in there. And I am going to go to client search because we started her yesterday, right? So she should be in here. So BM, Jessica Brady, right there, number 1. Let's go ahead and hit her. Now, we already entered Jessica's info, okay? Jessica, recall, why are you looking all like that? Get a little smaller, fit in the screen. There we go. All right. So let's recall, Jessica gave us a W-2. This was the W-2, okay? So we ended up, where we put the W-2 in, well, we're going to look over here on the left-hand side, and that's a federal form we got. The W-2 is a federal form. So we're going to hit the federal section. Now it says income, and we already have it edited a W-2 in there. We're going to look in here and BM. This is the information. Just to recap real quick, all the information that you see here is simply the information that we got off of this W-2 here. Okay. So this should be repeated. This should be, already established for those of you who've been following along. Okay. So BM, now we have that. So since we do have this information, we did yesterday start this. And if you notice at the top right-hand corner, you see the results. Now, this is a result as a result of this amount of income plus the credits that she gets for having these dependents on file. Okay, she has these dependents on file. So she is eligible for earned income credit. Earned income credit, what is that? That's the most coveted credit. This is the credit that you get for earning a certain amount of income and also having dependents that have a certain relationship to you. Typically, those relationships will have to range for the highest amounts from son, daughter, stepson, stepdaughter, brother, sister, half brother, half sister, stepsister, stepbrother, and granddaughter, and niece and nephew. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, niece and nephew will get you audited. Okay. Niece and nephew, if you think you want to be cute and put, oh, well, it's like my niece, we ain't really related, but, I've been looking out for her all my life. She stayed with me. And okay, can you prove to me that this is your sister or brother's child? No, then this is not your niece. This is a god sister, a god son, god brother. That's not a relative. All right. I know we in our neighborhood and community, we think that, cousin, best friend, cousin equals relationship equals somebody we can claim. Yes, you can claim them, but as other, not as brother, sister, mother. None of that other stuff. If you do, you run the risk of them asking for proof of that relationship, and you cannot prove that because it's not a real relationship. I mean, I said that wrong, because it's not the relationship you claim that it was. Okay? I'm not going to tell you what's a real relationship or not. That ain't my business. Okay? So this is how we got to this conclusion. This is how we got to 5969. We have a W-2. All right. And the W-2. Now I want to show you a couple things. I just want to show you how this works, because some of y'all still aren't necessarily in the know with regard to how earned income credit works. Earned income credit does not mean that you get a certain amount of, you get $5,000 just for claiming a child. Earned income credit, it's called the earned income credit, not the I got a child credit. Now, there is a child tax credit that's different. We'll go over that in a second. But the earned income credit, it depends on the earnings. The earnings are almost more important than the dependent. And let me show you what I mean by that. So just because you have a kid on the file does not mean your refund automatically jumps up to $20,000 or even $10,000. Let's take this for instance. Now I'm just going to manipulate these numbers a little bit, but this is not to be submitted. This is just so that we can experiment with what happens with the numbers. Okay, now look at this income. It's at $9,121 overall for the whole year. That gives this young lady, I'm gonna watch this. We can tell exactly how much earned income credit she gets for this amount of income. I'm going to go down here. If you look over here to the left-hand side, bottom left-hand side, you see where it says summary print. I'm going to hit summary print. Summary print is going to bring me to this W to the 1040 view. I'm going to look on page 2 right here, and I see earned income credit on line 27. That shows me that out of this refund, earned income credit is responsible for about $3,650 of it. And then the remainder is the additional child tax credit. All of this is ranging because of the fact that the income earned was enough to generate this amount of earned income credit for 2 dependents. Now watch this. Now that's based on $9,000 of income. Now what if that income wasn't $9,000? What if the income was higher? Okay. What if instead of $9,000, it was $19,000? Now don't submit this. This is just a gauging process. This is how we experiment. Like Cherie says, sometimes you try things, but it doesn't mean you submit them. I'm not submitting this. This is just to gauge so I know how the numbers work. So watch this. Let's assume that instead of her W-2 saying that she was getting back $9,000, that she had $9,000 of income, let's assume that there was a 1 in front of that 9121. All right, what would that do to the refund? So watch this. I just made it $19,121. Watch the difference in the refund here. And this is how you know that it's more about earned income. Well, not just more about it, but it's a combination of the earned income and the dependent, not just the dependent. Some folks think I got 5 kids, I should get $10,000. It doesn't work like that. All right. It depends on also how much it is that you earn. So let's take a look at how much it jumped up. Now she has $19,000 of income. Now the refund is almost twice as much. If she had worked twice as much, she would get twice as much. Or, hey, did you forget to give us any W-2s? Was there any additional income? Did you work for yourself and not include that income? Is there Cash App income that we could prove for a fact that you did indeed earn, perhaps for participating in child watching, or maybe having your own engineering business on the side, or flyer or marketing, or hair, nails, design, murals, painting, artistry, poetry, comedy, whatever it is? Is there anything else that could potentially boost that income legitimately, where we can prove to the IRS with no shadow of a doubt that you did indeed earn this income, which gives you more earned income credit? That's where the third step in that process comes into play. This is the part where and finally, last thing we do is go back into the system to see what credits, what deductions, what we can add that can legally maximize the refund. All right. So we know that this person, unfortunately, their W-2 did not provide them enough income to get them up for the earned income credit. Now, I'm not going to go in and try to look for a bunch of ways, because I'm going to tell you right now, the IRS earned income credit is one of the 3 credits that they audit the most. One of the four credits. All right. Does anybody remember what the 4 credits are? All right. Just for the sake of time, I'll refresh your memory. The four items that IRS audits the most are your HOH status, your earned income credit claims, your child tax credit claims, and your AOTC, American Opportunity Tax Credit, which is just basically the education credit. If you went to school, if you got one of those 1098 forms, you're good. But if you didn't and you put it in there, assuming that you did have one, but you didn't actually have one, quick audit, easy audit, and then they will take that money back or hold your file. Okay, so that now conversely, we've gone over what this does when you increase that income or when the income is increased. So what if it wasn't as much? All right. So see, we put down that it was $9,121. What if it was only $121? All right, well, let's give me, let me just, what if it was $1,121? Let's just do it like that. All right, fine. What if it was $21? All right, I don't feel like changing all the numbers. Okay, let's see, does it have any impact on it? What do you think will happen? Will it go up or will it go down? It should go down because the income and the amount of the income dictates the amount that you get back. The max amount of earned income credit, you're going to get it when your income is somewhere between $14,000 and $19,000, maybe even 20, depending on how much is withheld federally. But you see the difference. You see how it's now $2,100 instead of the $5,000 that they were getting before with the $9,000 of income. So the income, despite the dependence, dictates the outcome. All right. So it's in their best interest to have W-2s that if they want to get the maximum amount, then they hopefully have that, that income bracket right around where it should be to get the maximum. But if not, then if you can't find it, then they'll just have to know. Now, the other part of this is the federal withholding. All right. The federal withholding is extremely vital. All right. Now, I want you to take a look at this. On the W-2, you see right here where it says taxes withheld. All right. In the box 2, taxes withheld, 1326. Now, that's 1326. A part of that 1376, I'm going to show you this again. I'm going to scroll down here to summary print. All right, 1040 view, page 2. Summary print, we see that 1326 ended up going into our tax refund. All right. Now, what if they did not withhold that 1326? What if they didn't have any of that money in the W-2? What if instead of there being 1326 here, it was only 326? What if it was only 326 instead of 1326? Well, let's test that theory real quick. So let's assume that we can go back, all right, and let's just fictitiously give this a shot. I just want to try to see how this works. So I'm gonna go here to my W-2, make a quick modification just for gauging purposes, and let's assume that instead of the 1326, she only had 326 on that. What do you think that's going to do to her file? Now you look at the amount, you see how it's gone down by darn near almost exactly $1,000. Actually, it did go down exactly $1,000. That's literally $1,000 that came from the federal withholding. Did y'all notice that? All right. Look, I'll even show it to you right here on the print. It went down by almost $1,000. So the 13, so this federal withholding, it goes on their refund. Are y'all seeing that now? I mean, we know this, but some of us may not have already absorbed, recognized that. That federal withholding, that is the refund. That's the tax refund. Your best bet to stay out of the IRS's eye and to stay out of a bunch of letters getting to your clients is to try to help them legitimately get back the taxes that they paid already. All right. Rather than trying to help them get credits that they qualify for, because that ain't their money. They didn't pay that money. Earned income credit did not come out of the taxpayer's pocket. That comes from the IRS. That comes from the Department of Treasury. But your tax return, that federal withholding, that's money you paid. That is a legitimate refund. And you get less slack from the IRS when you're trying to get money back that you paid than you do when you're trying to get money that they got in the vault somewhere that they're giving out to people that qualify. Okay? So my advice would be to try your best to focus more on helping folks get back their federal withholding than trying to help them get a bunch of earned income credits and help them get a bunch of credits that they may or may not be able to prove that they qualify for. I'm keeping it real. Earned income credit, a lot of folks qualify for it because of their kids, but a lot of folks are not ready to prove that their kids live with them because they don't have that. I mean, we don't all keep documents right by our side that show that our kid live with us. Like, they don't sign the lease, but these are things that the IRS will do. So just keep those things in mind. All right. So that is how you can decipher what is going on. Like Therese said, it's best to know. You want to know. Your clients want to come to you because you're the one in the know. You got knowledge. They're not coming to you just so you can put some stuff into the computer and spit out the same thing that they can do on TurboTax. They can do that on TurboTax. They come to you because you know what's up. All right. So what I would do in a situation where I put this in, because I can tell you right now, I looked at Jessica. Jessica came in and she knew she put on her file that she got back $5,000, that she got back $6,000 last year. She put on her file that she got back $6,000 last year. And here I am in my little office. She just not meet me, and I'm trying to offer her $5,000. And that's not even with the fee. I'm trying to give her $5,000. Oh, hold on. Let me put the right number back. Sorry. Make sure y'all don't forget. If y'all ever if you ever gauge on a live file, make sure you don't forget to put what you did manipulate in order to gauge what you modified, not manipulate. All right. Last year turned out she got 6,000 back, y'all. And now she getting back less. And this is what my fee saw. She probably gonna get 5,000. All right. So I have a choice. I can say goodbye to my integrity and look for illegitimate ways to try to increase her refund, which I will not do. Or I can explain to her why. I would say if she got more last year, she's getting less this year. I would say, well, where'd you work last year? Can I see your information from last year? And then I would look at the W-2s. I'd compare the different situations, and I say, here's why. Now, here's what we can do to keep it where you like it. And then I show her how to go over the W-4 forms, how to change the W-4 form so that you can have more taxes coming out of your checks. So you can get a higher refund at the end of the year if that's what you want to do. I can explain it to her, make it make sense. So she doesn't think I'm manipulating this or somehow I'm trying to get over on her. All right. I also would probably say something like, did you claim all of the same kids last year? She might have not claimed the same amount of kids. She might have had a different job where she worked way more hours. See, folks are not always familiar with what a tax return entails. They think, look, I had a job last year. I had 2 kids last year. I got back $9,000 last year. This year I got a job. I got 2 kids. Why am I getting back $5,000? I'm like, okay, they're not looking at the numbers on the W-2. They're not considering how much they earned and how much federal withholding came out of it. They're not considering the possibility that their child last year was 16. This year they're 17. So they're no longer eligible for portions of the child tax credit. So it reduces ever so slightly. So these are the things. It's one thing to get less. It's another thing to get less and not know why. But in this particular instance, I'd be like, look, man, we could have did better. Like, look, I can get you more. I mean, I don't want you to go to jail. I can't send anything under my name that shows that I'm doing erroneous things maliciously. I will not. It's not how I get down. Now, if you want to go somewhere else, I could recommend somebody for you, but I can't, unfortunately. Now, if we want to look into how we can legitimately get more, if that's what you're interested in next year, let's talk, because I see some clear pathways and we can start that right now. All right. Are you able to access your W-4 from your computer? Let's go ahead and go in it right now. All right. Sometimes some people will not believe you. Some of my favorite are the folks that return after trying to take a gap year. You know, they think they're going to go somewhere else and they just going to, but nope. So they come back because they know you know what you're talking about. All right. So let's keep that in mind. Now, let me go ahead and go over what it is that I said I was going to go over, which is how to actually do these states, which is the very bottom. You see the very bottom of this. So for those of my people that are in New Jersey, that are in New York, that are in Atlanta, you all have state taxes. Georgia has state taxes. New Jersey has state taxes. Okay. So how do you know you have state taxes and how to enter them? Well, it's simple. You look at the whole entire W-2. And if you look at the very bottom, the boxes between 15 and 20 are your state income boxes. So let's show you how to enter those. So we're going to go ahead and re-enter the W-2. We're going to go to this pencil, which is an edit button. We've already entered the information from the W-2 here. You'll notice that we have the EIN, the company's name, all that stuff here entered here. You'll notice that we have the wages, federal income withheld, the Social Security, all that stuff that's right here on this W-2. We'll see we have that here as well. But now we even have the 12 codes. All right. Make sure you all don't forget the 12 codes right here in the 12 boxes on the W-2. Notice them in 12A, 12B, 12C, 12D. We have all of that stuff listed right here. But what we didn't do yesterday was put the state information in, which is here at the bottom. So what I like to do is go over with you guys how to properly put in state information. Now, this young lady did work in this particular instance. If you look on the W-2 in Idaho, ID stands for Idaho. IN is Indiana. ID is Idaho. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and put that information in. I see that it says 15, box 15 is ID for state. So we're going to go ahead right here and put in ID for the state of Idaho. All right. Then there's an employee state number, employer state number. It says, it looks like 5 zeros, 3 ones, and a 4. All right. So 5 zeros, 3 ones, and a 4. All right. Let's see what else we have on here. We've got the state wages, 91, 21, and 27. Already in there. Let's keep it going. Remember, we round up and round down for the dollars. All right, state income tax looks like it was 500. So we're going to put 500 right here for state income tax. And then looks like there's nothing else. 18, 19, 20 are all blank. So we are also going to leave them blank. All right, so watch this, guys. I've successfully entered the bottom, and that's it. Once I hit continue, I've saved it. It is in there now. Now, the only thing I have to do at this point is I have to go and register the information about the state. Now, I'm not going to be able to do this properly because I don't have the client here. Sometimes they ask for things like the school code, the school area, the county. Sometimes we can look these things up, but depending on what their status is, resident, non-resident, or part resident, we may have to add more or take away some information. So follow along with me on this one, okay? So BM, now since we have the state information, we're going to go over here to state section. Now, remember, this young lady had a state. If you look at box 15, that's Idaho. So we're going to look on this screen, add a state return, and which state? Idaho. Oh man, it's not ready yet. See, I told y'all some of this stuff was going to be ready yet. So I tell you what, just for the sake of keeping this moving today, guys, please don't be mad at me for this, but I'm going to go ahead and just use another state just for the sake of keeping it moving. All right, that was Idaho, but let's just choose Indiana, another I state. All right, just so that we can get this done. All right, so I'm going to click I, N, D, I, A, and A, and we're going to hit continue. So now it's going to is this a resident or non-resident? Well, check it out, yo. This young lady told us that she lived in New Jersey. Her driver's license say New Jersey. Her address is New Jersey. So she is not a resident of the state of Idaho or Indiana. So we're going to put non-resident, okay? Non-resident, and go ahead and keep it moving. Now, I am going to go ahead and hit exit, return, and hope that that's all I have to do, okay? And you notice up here, we now have the state results. It's $0 owed, $0 gained. So she doesn't have to worry about paying Indiana anything. And she didn't have to worry, and she unfortunately doesn't get a refund for it either. But that's probably for the better because it looked like her state taxes were a little low compared to the federal. All right, so now I keep it moving. Oh, and this is what I was talking about. This is the beauty of this program. It'll tell you when you have errors. So the county information is missing, right? So BM, now I go to make corrections. And I will go to basic information here, right? And it's going to ask me probably about the county that I live in. Is it here? Nope, it's not here. County info, it's right here. Select the state where I lived. Well, we lived in New Jersey, didn't she? Okay, BM. State. Select the state where you lived. Bartholomew? What the heck? The state? All right, we're just gonna say out of state. Actions that best describe where you worked. I worked out of the state. I worked at home. All right, into the income subject to the county tax. All right, all of these I can just leave. It just asked me for this information, so I should be able to let that go. Let's see where it takes me now. This is my trial and error process. Sometimes I don't mind this. All right, let's continue. Whenever in doubt. All right, there's still some issues. So there's no income statement. Hold on, let me see. It's error. You know, you paid it, but you also paid. Oh, okay. Now it's giving me the complex stuff. All right, I can't do the Idaho thing yet because Idaho isn't listed. So it's giving. So let me just go back here just to make this simple. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't expect it to give me this much complexity. Let's just make it Indiana just for the sake of continuity. Okay. We're breaking the computer here. And that should take care of it. Let's go back down to the end. And e-file, okay, BM, no state unit. Okay, you file, but you're not offering. Yes, all right. Sorry, this got a little murky, but let me just clean this up real quick. So since it said, I'm going to start this all the way over. I did indicate now that it was Indiana instead of Idaho. So that should clear that up. Non-resident. BM. Sometimes you have to delete the whole thing just to get it to work. Out of state. I worked in, let me see, the state of Illinois. I didn't. I worked out of state. It was, all right, let's hope this doesn't give us any problems. Let's keep it moving. And if it gives me no errors, I should be good to go. Nope. You have recorded state income for your W-2. All right. You indicate you pay taxes in Idaho. What? But I just changed that, didn't I? I could have swore I changed that, man. Didn't I change that? Am I tripping? Did y'all see me change that? All right, whatever. All right, let's see if it registers at this time. And it might be one of them blips where it's doing that now. I put Illinois. I could have swore I just put. Hey, look, y'all gonna quit messing with me, man. Oh, I did. Wow. Oops. All right, let's try that one more time. I got eggnog brain. There we go. So the Sheila has a refund from Illinois. All right. From Indiana. My apologies. All right. Man, we got it right this time. Okay. And so now this is, can I tell y'all a little secret? This is between me and you. I love, as a Floridian, as a dude who lives in Florida, I love doing out-of-state taxes, especially where folks have state returns where they get a state tax return, because that tax return basically covers my fee. Okay. My fee for this, since she has earned income credit, is going to probably be about $600-700. All right. And now when I tell her that she's getting back, how much she's getting back, she's going to get back $6,000. She's not even going to notice it. She's going to get back like $6,000. The total of her federal after fees plus the amount that she gets for the state, I'll give her the total and she'll probably be happy with that. So I like state returns when they help. All right. So that is how you would do the state return portion. It's very simple, plug and chug. Just simply take the information from the bottom of it, put it in, and then follow along with the state section. That's for my out-of-state folks. So that should be state. That should be pretty standard. And then you just do everything we did yesterday. Just go through this and finish it. If it's direct deposit here, the only thing different about direct deposit is that when you get to the next screen, it's going to ask you for. Oh yeah, you have to pick the direct deposit. Oh yeah, you have to make sure you pick direct deposit if they're getting a refund for this. If they're not getting a refund and they have to owe money, then I recommend doing paper return. All right. But if they want it to come directly debited out of their account, then you put direct debit, and then it'll take it out on the day that you request. Like I said, if you do direct deposit, the only thing different is you're going to take the information you got from the direct deposit page, and once you continue clicking, it's going to ask you at some point for the checking or savings account, the bank name, and this information. You confirm that, and then it will send it to that account. But you want to make sure you double check and sign off on it, and that you have proof that they are the ones that gave you the information that you're inputting. So if it goes to the wrong place, you can say, look, here's the information you gave me. You signed it. And just so you can feel good, the IRS isn't going to send, or the bank isn't going to send the money to a random account. All right. If you put the wrong number in, 9 times out of 10, they're just going to send you a regular check in the system. So don't worry too much about that. All right. All right. So that is how you do state returns, guys. All right. That's how you put in a state return for the most part. Wait a minute. What? Sharona just said something. Be sure you renew your NY. It is no longer required to be in NY to have a P10. There are continuing education to obtain it. Okay, so I don't have an NY P10 because I live in Florida. But if you stay in Jersey and if you prepare taxes, I recommend having an NY P10. I am going to follow that advice because even if it's just for 3 or 4 clients, like those 3 or 4 clients become 20 clients. And I already got like about a dozen clients in New York, and I've just been mailing off their state returns. But I wouldn't mind doing the NYP10 thing. So I'm going to follow up with you about that, Sharonda, since y'all are experts on it. Okay. So that is how you do the state returns, guys. We only got a few more minutes here, so I'm going to go over a couple things very, very quickly. So please pay close attention. I would like to address with you guys the different types of 1099s there are and how you will enter them, but not in depth, just showing you where to go. This is simple plug and chug, which is data entry. That simply means what you see on the screen. What you see on paper is what you put into the screen. It's extremely simple. So let's go through a few different instances of 1099s. All right, let's go through a few instances in which you have 1099s. Now let's list the different types of 1099s there are. All right, there's a whole bunch of them. There's 1099 MISC for 1099 miscellaneous. There's 1099. Oh, you know what? Let's just show you a couple of things. So I've got, like I said before, we got 1099 MISC for miscellaneous, which we don't really see as much of anymore since they did the 1099 NECs more. All right, we also have the 1099Rs. 1099Rs typically are withdrawals or payments from a retirement fund. 1099Rs sometimes will look like this. All right, and as you see here, like I said, it is a variant. Normally something you get from your pension, annuity, withdrawal, or it'll show your total payments that you received that year. You also have 1099 SAs, which is your Social Security or disability benefits. You have your 1099 Cs. You have your 1099 Gs for your unemployment, and the 1099 Gs for when you collected a refund check from the state out of state. Okay, there's a whole bunch of different 1099s. There's 1099 dividends, which typically reported to banks. These have to do a lot of times with some of these investments that are made, albeit through your company or from your personal portfolio. And there's also 1099 INT. I don't know if I have one of those, but 1099 INT is a thing as well. But here's the beauty about the 1099 issue. The 1099 is literally all basic plug and chug. When it comes to entering them into the system, it is not a complicated process. It's literally just going and plugging in what it is you see. So for that reason, I'm not going to go in depth into each and every 1099. Just know if you get a 1099, this is what I highly recommend that you do so you can keep up with how to enter these things properly. So I'm going to go back here to my page. You're going to see how I enter. Let's go ahead and go back to Jessica, since we've gotten to know Jessica a little bit. Okay. Now let's just assume Jessica just came into my office. We just got finished with her file. Everything's all set to go. And oh, by the way, we'll leave the state thing up. But she walks out and then she comes back and she's like, oh, you know what? I forgot. I had this form too. Is this important? And then she slaps this on your desk, assuming that this is 2024. All right. She's like, oh, is this even important? I don't know what to do with this. And you like, you got. Is this important? Is this important? There's $22,000 worth of income on this, but there's also almost $22,000 worth of taxable stuff. So here's what I want you to do, and we're going to close with this, and then we'll pick up on this a little later, because I also want to go over not only the forms of 1099s, but also one other form called a 8379 for an injured spouse form. I don't know if you all know what injured spouse form is, but this is how you can process a file for a married couple without one of the spouses being impacted by the other one's death. We'll get into all this stuff a little later. For right now, I just need y'all to know how to do 1099s in all forms of 1099s included. So with this particular 1099, this is a 1099. Oh, not that, excuse me. This is a 1099R. It looks like this. Pull it up. Now, again, I know it's a little blurry and I know it's old, but let's just assume that this is a form from 2024. So where that says 2019, let's use our imaginations and assume that it said 2024. Okay. So I am going to go, since I'm right here in the system, I'm going to over here to the left. You see how I got my cursor? I'm going to scroll it over here, be able to pull this up automatically like this. And I'm going to go to enter form number. I'm going to go to enter form number. Okay. So I'm going to enter form number, click. And what type of form is this, guys? What type of form is this? All right. There's a form on here. It tells me what kind of form it is. What type of form is this? What's the name of this form? If you look at the bottom left-hand corner, you'll notice it says Form 1099R. Form 1099R. So we'll go here to our handy dandy form finder and we're going to put 1099R. And look what comes up, 1099R. So I click that and ta-da! Now all I have to do is enter what it says. Okay? It says box 1, gross distribution. Box 1, gross distribution. Box 2, taxable income. Box 2, taxable income. All right. Payer's ID. All that other stuff over here is right. All right. Payer's ID. It has it. It's blocked out. So we're going to go ahead and just start at 7 and we'll make up some stuff. The payer's name, it appears, is California State Teachers Retirement. Cali State Teachers Retirement. All right. That's, where is that? It's at P.O. Box 15. 15,275 in good old California, 95851. Okay, let's look at else. Look at what else it says over here. We have 1099. What's it say for box 2B? There's nothing checked, so we'll leave ours unchecked. What's it say for box 4? 1164. So we are going to scroll down here to box 4, 1164. Now, what else does it say? For box 5, it's got 267 and 60. So we'll put 268 right here. For box 7 has a distribution code. So we're going to go right here to the box 7, the distribution code. And which one does it have? 7. We'll put the number 7 there. The IRASEP is nothing there. And it does have in box 9B, there is 4,594. So let's go down to 9B, 4594, and we have done it. Did we leave anything off? All right, there's a box 13, but we don't need that. That's okay. There's nothing there to be paid. All right, so that's it, guys. We just entered the 1099. Now, this is going to dramatically impact this person's file. All right, it's going to increase it by $20,000, but I honestly feel like this is going to dramatically increase this person's refund. Let's just take a look at it and see what it does. Oh, here's value. All right, fine. You got me. Let's see. I bet you I could do 2-0. That typically works. All right. Did I make? All right. No, this isn't due to a qualified disaster. It's just because I got paid this much in retirement. All right. Now let's see the results. Bam. It went up 2K. And unfortunately, it looks like the state dropped a little bit, but that's fine. That's fine. All right. But we also now have a huge war chest of federal withholding that if she does have deductions, we may be able to tap into. But this is what I want to show you real quick before we get up out of here. So that's what you did. That's what I did for a 1099-R. Okay. That's a 1099-R. The same thing applies to all other 1099s for the most part, with the exception of 1099 NECs and 1099 MISCs, because those will flow to a Schedule C or a Schedule E or a Schedule F. But for all of the 1099s, the 1099 INT, DIEV, 1099C, all of these 1099s, you simply put in the form into the form finder and then plug and chug. All right. So let's assume that we were going to do, with the exception of 1099C, which I'll get into a little later. So let's assume that we're going to do a 1099 for the Social Security, right? So if we're doing 1099 for Social Security, what do? I'm going to go back over here to my page. All right, excuse me. And let's go ahead and find Jessica again. All right, Jessica just getting W-2. She getting retirement. She getting Social Security. Good Lord. Doing all right. I'm going to go here. So what's the name of this form? It is a 1099 SSA, right? So I'm going to look over here in my handy dandy form finder, right? And I'm going to put, what does it say on here? Form SSA, very top, form SSA 1099. So SSA 1099. Oops. SSA. Scroll down. What is that? 1099 SSA. So now on this, and I love the new format for the SSAs. I'll look on here and see what's the total. Looks like it's $19,082. And this is for the only taxpayer listed. There's no spouse. So I'll put 1982 right here because that's what it says. 1982. And in box 4, is there any federal withholding? Box 6, any federal withholding? Nope, none of that. So everything else is blank. There's no premiums. Wait, there is a premium. On the left-hand side, you see there's a $938 premium. You can put that. Typically has no impact, but yeah. Now it's going to reduce my refund because it increases my income, unfortunately, even though it's non-taxable income. But that's how simple it is to enter 1099s. That's the objective here. It's not to show you what it does to the tax return. It's just to show you that when you get a 1099, you should be like, oh, I know how to do these. Easy. Unless it's a 1099 NEC, but even those you can do. But there's more involved when you have a 1099 NEC, 1099 MISC, and a 1099C. I will show you this one last thing. In 1099C, this one's very important. We may have to click this one. For 1099C, this is for a cancellation of debt. Looks like this. 1099C is for a cancellation of debt. You finally paid off that credit card, boo. Good for you. Now, this, according to the IRS, nearly any debt you owe that is canceled, forgiven, or discharged becomes taxable income to you. You receive a Form 1099-C cancellation of debt from the lender that forgave you. So what I'm going to do if you have a 1099-C, this is the very last thing I promise, guys. This is it. So I'm going to go ahead and say, let's just say that Jessica had a 1099-C. So what am I going to do? If I want to find this form, if I want to find this form, where do I go? If I want to find this form, where do I go? Form finder. Hallelujah. All right. So this is a 1099-C. Bam. I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. Cancellation of debt. Hallelujah. You see that right there? So now I'm going to go ahead and pull this page up. Let's bring that 1099-C back up. Okay. This is a cancellation of debt. A little different from income. Let's assume that that's 2024, not 2014. So what's the creditor's name? Looks like it's Midland Funding. So what am I going to do? I'm going to put Midland Funding right on up in here. Midland Funding. Got it? What's that EIN for the federal ID? Federal ID. Well, it's been redacted. So let's go ahead and be creative. 20 and then a bunch of fluff. All right. And then the amount of debt canceled. You see right there, it says $2,253. So I'm going to put $2,253 right here. All right. And that is how you enter the 1099-C. But there is a second part to this. That's why I wanted to make sure y'all saw this before we leave. There is a second part to the 1099-C. This is a two-part scenario, two-part form. So peep this. Okay. So we put that information into the 1099-C. And what does this do to our refund? Y'all just check this out. Watch what it does to the refund. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and enter it, save it, continue it. And what does it do to the refund? We were at 60.98 before. Now, since we put this in, looks like it is giving us boom, dropped it by dang near $1,300. All right, that's not cute. That's not cute. Your client don't want them to be dropping no money. All right. So since it dropped to during their $1,300, here's what we do. All right. When you do a 1099-C, it's a two-part process. So after you put in the 1099-C amount of debt, I want you to follow that up with a 982 form. There's not a form that you receive for this. This is, I'm telling you, you follow this up with a form called a 982. What's that? That's going to declare forgiven your amount of debt that you just claimed from your 1099-C. Check this, all right? So that gave us 4709, whereas before it was 6098. Now I'm going to go and find a 982. How do I do that? It's a form 982. Where do I find that form? How about the form finder? Hallelujah. Yeah, we're going to hit 982 BIM. 982. Now you won't know this if you didn't listen. All right, this isn't in the manual. All right. Now I don't have her in front of me, so I'm going to assume that this is a paid off debt. Let's just say like she paid off her car note. All right. So because of that, I'm going to look over here for her 1099. How much was it? 2253. And put 2253. Well, depending on what it is that she did have this for, that would dictate where we put this. For now, I'm going to put it in the general indebted, real property, business, residence, indebted to extent insolvent. So let's just say that this was, she paid off her credit card debt. All right, for indebtedness. All right, not bankruptcy, not farm, not real estate, not residential indebtedness, just one of these things, the second one, okay? She paid it off, and I put that there. So you see what I did? Did y'all see what I did? The indebtedness. All right. Do I have the, yeah, I do. Okay, BM. So now that I put the 2253 here, let's go ahead and hit continue, and let's see what our results are. Before it was at 6098. Before I put in the 1099-C, then it dropped to 4700. Now that we put in the 982, after putting in the 1099-C, we're hoping for some sort of better result. Let's cross our fingers and hope that the tax guys will, hey, and look what we did. We brought it right on back to 6098 where it was before we put in the 1099-C, and the 1099-C has been claimed on the file. Y'all see that? You see that? It's now back up to where it was, even though we did claim the 1099-C. Look on the left-hand side, the cancellation of debt, the 1099-C is in there. All right, it's in there. So it's been claimed appropriately, and she still is able to get the same amount of money she had back before she put in the 1099-C. So those are a couple forms of 1099-Cs. The overwhelming majority of the 1099-Cs, the 1099s that you see, will be plug and chug. The three that I think you need to be cautious of is 1099-C, 1099-NEC, and 1099 miscellaneous. Those are the few that are going to require a little bit of additional information after you put in those first few forms. Okay, but having said that, man, I think that's about it for now, bro. Look, I'm gonna keep it real, man. I'm about to go. I gotta celebrate. It's a whole new year. And it's time to go ahead and kick it off. So I hope y'all are at least absorbing some of this. I think tomorrow we're supposed to do Q&A and maybe just a couple touch-ups. I think that's all that's going on. I'd like to get into what the purpose of an IPIN is for folks who have identity theft issues, maybe even go into the purpose of Schedule A deductions and what it is that you can do with that knowledge. In my opinion, it's so nice to be able to tell and explain to somebody what their Schedule A deductions are, what the standard deductions is compared to with regard comparably between the different filing statuses, because there's one standard deduction for single individuals, there's a different one for married individuals, there's another one for head of household. So we'll get into that a little later, but I hope that you all did at least learn a little something today. I want to thank my homegirl Sharice for pulling up, and for all of y'all who pulled up, who's ready to go ahead and get this thing popping this year. Sincerely appreciate y'all. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your New Year's Day, and remember, you're only going to get out of this what you put into it. So hopefully you're ready to put your all into it. Deuces.